Welcome to the Educational Leadership Podcast, the podcast where education meets innovation and leaders like you transform schools into thriving communities. Join us as we guide you through the ever-evolving world of educational leadership, from strategies that inspire your staff to insights that shape your students' futures. We're here to sharpen your skills, amplify your talents, and ignite your impact. So grab your coffee, a notebook, and most importantly, your growth mindset as we embark on a journey to redefine what it means to lead with purpose and passion. This isn't just a podcast, it's professional development. Let's build better schools together, one episode at a time. Now, here's your host, Principal JL.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. Explore more podcasts at www.teachbetterpodcastnetwork.com. Now let's get back to the episode.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational Leadership Podcast. I am your host, Principal JL. Hey, I am on my own today. I'm doing a little solo episode, mainly because, I'm in between some guests. I got more guests coming up I'm really excited about, and I'm really looking forward to sharing those episodes. But this episode's going to be kind of unique. It's going to be a shorter one, just because there's some things I just want to get off my chest as an educational leader. I think as educational leaders, we know what's going on out in the world, guys. Like, we are not turning a blind eye to anything. And the thing that I want to touch base on is, as a principal, as someone that works in the field in educational leadership on the day-to-day, seeing how the world outside of us impacts our building, guys. Like, no matter what the issue is, no matter what is happening on in our nation, in America, it affects our kids, it affects our staff. And as principals, there's no guide to help us manage those things and to guide those things and to, how to, basically go through those issues as they happen live. Now, today's episode is basically to maybe give you a few tips on how to approach issues out there that come to your doorstep, because we always say we get society's doors at our doorsteps when it comes to public education. Now, this may not be true in other places, but where I'm at as a person that's been in public education, which, by the way, isn't as bad as the national media may say it is or they think it is, because here in Nebraska, I think we have outstanding public education, and I believe it's much, much better than you can get in a private school situation as well. But that's my biased opinion. Private schools, they're great schools too. There's great people that I know in those private schools, and they do a good job. But I just say, if you're in public education, you're going to get a good quality education here in the state of Nebraska. And I know that may not be true in other states out there. And so when things happen, like national things happen, and they come into our buildings, we have to deal with it, right? And so some things that I really, look at is I try to make sure my staff's okay, my students okay, and we try to work through things as much as possible. Now, just so you guys know, I do have a belief system. Like, I am a believer, but at the same time, I'm not going to use my faith and my beliefs, and I'm not going to project them onto people as a principal, as somebody that sits in that seat, because that's not my job. My job is to help people learn. My job is to help people become really good at education so they can become the best teachers and staff members they can be, but also be best for those students so those students can learn. And some of the things that we're losing out there in education is the ability to allow kids to critically think and our adults to critically think. What that means is you got to be able to take information. You got to be able to take two sides of an argument and look at it and really understand what this person is saying, what this other person is saying, but also make up your own mind. A lot of the times people think out there, public education, they're indoctrinating students. We are not sitting there indoctrinating students. From the seat I sit at, we do not do that. Now, there could be in some places that's happening, and those are far few in between. But guess what? That's what the national media is going to blow up on you and say, hey, these teachers are indoctrinating all these people. Now, you guys got to understand, I've taught and been a principal at a small rural school, and I've also taught as well as a principal in larger districts. And you're going to have people of all different walks of life, faith, it don't matter, cultural things. There's, you know what? Education is where we all come together and we all learn together and we all strive to become better human beings. And I think that's the thing people forget is in this role as an educator, as a leader of a school building, my job is not to tell you what I believe. That's not my job. My job is to help you make up your mind or what you believe in. But also at the same time, we got to be able to have healthy debates and we got to be able to have healthy dialogue and discourse with each other because we're living in a world right now where if you disagree with somebody, all you're doing is calling people names and you're not having a dialogue. All you're doing is having a shouting match. You look like a bunch of children having a tantrum. But if you can come with facts and you can come with actual data that supports your side of the story, that's what you want to hear. And the thing is you may come to a conclusion where you guys agree to disagree, and that's okay. I think that's lost. As a principal, there are conversations I have with parents, with students, with staff members. We won't agree on stuff, and that's okay. But we still are going to have a good dialogue and a good discussion about those things. A lot of times as a principal, I get called all kinds of names because I can make half the people happy and half the people not happy. And I get it from all over, right? And so my job is to basically make the best decision with the information I have for the people involved. And that's it. And the thing is, it may look different from one case to another, but my goal is to be consistent as a leader when I make those decisions. And I'm not going to make everybody happy. I have people out there, calling me names and saying I'm terrible at certain things sometimes, and that happens. But I don't let that affect me because in the end of the day, I got to be able to go home, lay my head down at night, and said, you know what, I did the very best that I could do. Now, with this said, as principals, what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to change the narratives of the negativity that surrounds our education and our public education. And we got to be able to tell our stories. That's what this podcast is for. This podcast is to tell other people's stories so we can learn, grow from each other, and get better. Like, we're not going to do it on our own. We're not going to be able to do the work by ourselves, but we have people that are around us that can help us. Let's plug into those things. In a time where you feel like our country is really divided, let's try to unite. I have a ton of people that I work with that we don't have the same faith. We don't have the same beliefs. We don't have the same political beliefs as well. But that's okay because our jobs isn't to be political. And I always say, as a principal or as an educator, if people know your political beliefs inside your school, I don't know if that's a great thing for people to know because I don't want you to be able to persuade people because you believe a certain way. Your goal, your job as an educator is to present information and let those people decide on their own because they have what we call free. They have the ability to do that. We're not here to tell people how to believe or how to live or how to do any of that. But at the same time, we are here to support and to help people grow and learn into those things so they could be a contributing member of society. So when it comes down to it, guys, there's a lot out there, a lot of negativity, but I'm really calling to action here. What are we doing to show the great things that are happening in our school? What is the narrative that you're putting out? Are you putting out positive things about your school and about your staff? I know we're going to have struggles. We're going to have our ups. We're going to have our downs. But at the same time, don't let other people tell your story. You got to be able to tell the story of all the great things that are happening in your schools, because there's a lot of great things out there. And don't let things dissuade you from those things, because there's going to be people out there that are going to try to say one thing or another, or try to just try at the same time. You know what's right. You know what you're doing is right. That's all that matters. So, with that all said, everybody, this, like I said, is going to be a short one. I really took some out of this episode. I really appreciate everybody that has tuned in and listened to the Educational Leadership Podcast. If this message resonates with you, please share it with somebody out there. And till next time, everybody, always be curious and 1% better. Thank you for sticking around to the very end of this episode. I hope this podcast brings value to you as an educational leader. I would invite you to share this podcast with other educational leaders, or maybe that inspiring teacher who would like to be an educational leader someday. I would also invite you to subscribe and to follow this podcast so you can get the most recent updated episodes when they drop. I would also love it if you leave a review and rate this podcast 5 stars, because that would make this podcast more discoverable to other educators like yourself. You can also follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, Threads, and Substack. All you need to do is look for Principal J.O., and boom, there I am. This is where we can continue the conversations from the episodes that you have enjoyed. I am so thankful for you guys for listening. Until next time, always be 1% better.